pressed him again, and he muttered something that made my stomach twist. I stayed because I was told to. Told by who? And why would anyone force a man to raise a child that wasn't his? The next 48 hours unraveled a truth I never saw coming. Daniel didn't just lack emotion, he lacked freedom. He wasn't distant because he was boring. He was distant because he was hiding something life-changing. The woman from the letters wasn't a mistress. She was his ex-fiancée, someone he dated before me, someone who disappeared years ago in a case the police never solved. And the attorney messages? They weren't about child support, they were warnings. Warnings about someone who had been watching Daniel. Someone who had threatened him, someone who claimed Caleb wasn't mine either. Someone who said the truth would ruin all of us. And if you're listening, don't click away, because what I uncovered next explains why my partner acted like a stranger in our home. And why my son was the only one who never felt wrong to me. I didn't sleep that night. My brain was replaying every detail from the moment I met Daniel to the moment I gave birth, trying to stitch together a timeline that made sense. I was trying to understand who would want to intimidate him, and why they would drag my child into it. The next morning, while Caleb was at school, I dug deeper into those envelopes. I found an email printout from a private investigator dated 9 years ago, stating that Daniel's ex-fiancée, Laura, hadn't gone missing. She'd run, and the reason she ran was written right below. She believed she was being followed by someone she once trusted. The letter didn't name the man, but the description of his habits, his obsession with control, his ability to manipulate people, his talent for blending in sounded horrifyingly familiar. With trembling hands, I scrolled through Daniel's old emails until one subject line shot ice through my veins. About Caleb. Inside, I found a message Laura wrote years before Caleb was born. She was telling Daniel that someone had threatened her with a message. If you leave me, I'll take your future. Laura believed that this same man planned to sabotage any life Daniel built, including his relationships and any children he might have one day. My chest tightened. Someone had been shadowing Daniel, someone who didn't want him to have a happy family. Someone who made threats that eventually pushed Laura to disappear. But why drag Caleb into it? That night, Daniel finally broke down, something I've never seen him do. Told me everything: how Laura's stalker resurfaced shortly after we got together. How he started receiving messages implying Caleb wasn't mine. How someone was spreading lies to tear us apart. He didn't confront me because he was afraid if he pushed, the stalker would target us physically. He even hired a PI and got the DNA test done secretly to see if the threats were real or just manipulation. When he found out Caleb wasn't biologically his, he panicked. He shut down. He detached. Not because he didn't care for us, but because he felt watched, trapped, and unsafe. My heart broke for him, but I still needed answers. So I contacted the private investigator listed in the old email. And what he told me left me shaking so hard I nearly dropped the phone. The man who stalked Laura. The man who followed Daniel's life for years. The man who tried to destroy every relationship he formed. He wasn't a stranger. He was Caleb's biological father. A man I barely remembered. A man I dated briefly before Daniel. A man who disappeared from my life after I ended things with him due to his obsessive behavior. I never knew I was pregnant until months later, and by then, he was long gone. But he hadn't forgotten me. He hadn't forgotten Daniel. And he definitely hadn't forgotten Caleb. He had been watching from the shadows, manipulating both Daniel and me, sowing seeds of doubt, making sure our lives stayed fractured and confused. When I realized the truth, everything inside me collapsed. I wasn't relieved that Daniel wasn't Caleb's father. I was devastated that the man who was his father had been stalking us, controlling us, lying to us, destroying any chance Daniel had of bonding with Caleb. And yet, even in the middle of all that darkness, there was a strange clarity. Daniel didn't stay because he was forced. He stayed because he cared. He tried to protect us in the only way he knew, how even if that way was quiet, withdrawn, and incomplete. After months of therapy, police intervention, and layers of painful healing, the stalker was finally caught. His obsession ended where it belonged, in a courtroom. And as for Daniel, he slowly became someone new. Someone present. Someone who learned to speak, to feel, to show up. Someone who finally saw Caleb not as a threat or a reminder of trauma but as a kid who just wanted a father figure. The truth about my last relationship isn't simple. It's messy and terrifying and full of the kind of betrayal that twists your insides. But it taught me this. Sometimes the safest person in your life looks boring on the surface, but they re-fighting demons you never see. And if you're listening to this, don't forget to hit follow. Because the next story I share might just reveal a truth you didn't know you needed.